Hey guys, it's Harold here again, and today we're going to set up an APRS iGate using Xastir, and we're also going to use Soundmodem, which is a software and sound card based TNC, so you don't need any physical hardware. You will need a cat control cable or a serial based push to talk cable. You can make those yourself. Until I have a need to make another one, I won't be doing a video on it. However, there's a lot of documentation online. And you can also make a simple cable to take audio to and from the hardware into the sound card, which is just using your mic or line in port and your headphone jack. So it's really simple as far as radio connections go. So the first thing we're going to do is open up a terminal. And first off, I do apologize if the video is a little slow or choppy. I'm recording through a virtual machine. First thing we'll do is log in as root, and it's always good to do a quick update. Good enough. And you'll want to do an apt-get install Xastir. Of course, I already have it installed, but whatever. And you'll do an apt-get install Soundmodem. And again, I already have that installed, so nothing to do there. First thing we need to do is get Soundmodem set up. Thankfully, in Linux, there's a nice GUI for this. We'll do Soundmodem config. There's our GUI. We'll go to File, New, Configuration. Let's give the configuration a name. I'm just going to call it Test iGate. We'll click on the Test iGate, and now it wants to know the mode. We're going to switch the mode to ALSA in most cases. You can use sound card, but it all depends. We're going to try ALSA and plug HW00. We'll be able to test and see if that's correct. If it's not, we can change it. Your push-to-talk driver is what serial port is set up to do the cat control and the push-to-talk on your radio. You'll need to set that up. If you're going to use Vox, you can just leave it set to none. And we'll go over to channel access. These settings are fine, but if you're going to use Vox for something like a UV5R, I highly suggest you make the transmit delay 1000. Of course, we don't need to make that change in this case. We can use hardware. We'll now go to File, New, Channel to create a new channel. We'll come down to channel 0. And for APRS, it uses AFSK. So we'll switch that to AFSK. Leave it to the defaults on both of these, just 1200 baud. We'll go to our packet I/O. We can use MKISS or KISS. KISS makes it show up like a serial device. MKISS is an AX25 interface. We'll use this just because it's simple and it needs a call sign. In this case, we'll use my personal call sign, KR0SIV. And this is just temporary. We're not going to keep that iGate online. And we'll use SM0 as the interface. Let's go to diagnosis and make sure the diagnostics show that we have a proper working sound card. So we'll click scope and it opens. And if we hit push to talk, we should hear a horrible piercing sound. And we hit it again to close it. So that does work. We can close it. That confirms the sound card's good. So I always go back up to the test iGate name here, then file and quit. So that's done. That's set up. Now what we need to do is, since we're using an AX25 port, we need to tell the computer that we have that port configured. So we'll do nano. We have to go to ECT, AX25, AX25 ports. Let me make sure this is, yep. Oh, AX ports, my apologies. So here's the AX ports, and it does give you an example. So down here we're just going to do SM0, because that's the name of our port. KR0SIV is the call. We're going to use 9600, 256, 7, and this is 144.39 APRS. Control X and then Y to save and enter to complete. Let me clear the screen. So now if we execute Soundmodem, it will screech for a little while, and hopefully people don't come upstairs asking what's going on and ruin the video. So at this point, that part's set up. Let's open a new terminal, and we're also going to run it as root, and we're going to run Xastir. Here comes Xastir. Alright, and we'll put in the call sign, which is KR0, SIV in this case. We're just going to leave latitude and longitude alone. Xastir test station, because I will be removing this immediately. And here is Xastir. So first thing we need to do is our interface control, and we can add an interface. Now if we want this to take signals that it hears and put them on the internet, we'll add an internet server. And basically we can leave this as is. It will need a passcode. In some cases you don't need to. There is documentation if you want the passcode. I don't recall offhand, but you can Google Xastir passcode. It'll show you where to get it. And you just hit OK. So there it is. And sometimes the buttons down here disappear. If they do, just close it and open interface control again. So in this case, I'm not going to enable that because that would take this fake iGate and immediately put it on the internet, and I don't want that because it's not a real iGate. Now once you have that, we're also going to add another interface. We need to have an AX25 TNC. We'll add that. And so now it wants to know the device name. We did SM0 as our interface. We don't really need a comment. So here you can have, do you want to disable iGate traffic? Do you want to allow RF to internet only? Or do you want to allow RF to internet and internet to RF? Which means you can have a station on the internet transmit through your gate out to the RF, or you can have just stations that you hear and put them online. Now, I personally do both, but if you don't have a transceiver and all you have is like a scanner, for example, then you would just do RF to internet traffic. For now, we'll go ahead and we'll leave it at both. That's fine. And we'll click on it and hit start, and you'll see the interface is now up. We can close this, and to see if it's working, we'll go to interface and hit transmit now, and we should hear an APRS packet. And there you go. We did get this broken pipe error. It's generally something that happens when the ALSA audio mixer is too high. So we can turn it down a bit. That's a little bit better. Still says broken pipe, but we can hear it. It was a clean packet. We'll do one more time. So that's working. And likewise, if you hear any packets, they will show up on this station. There's also a nice little tool here called AX Listen. Let's do back into root, AX Listen. Oh, and that's not installed. So we can just do apt-get install AX25 apps, which actually I think was changed to utils. Alright, maybe I was wrong. Let's install the apps. Yes, we need to install apps. And then once the apps are installed, we can run the AX25 AX Listen application. And that will show us AX25 packets coming in and going out from the system. And that shows port 1 and 2 are not active, which is perfectly normal. So if we transmit, we would normally see something in here, but in this case it's just not configured for that. Right now it's just in receive mode. Otherwise you would see data coming in. Let me try something real quick if I'm not mistaken. There we go. So now it's in bidirectional mode, and we can see from KR0SIV to the AX201 via wide to test station and no location because there's no GPS connected. Let's go ahead and close that terminal. Now, let's say you're in a mobile vehicle and you want to use this software. You would want your GPS in most cases. So you'll go to your interface, and interface control, hit add, and you can add a GPS. And it does vary on the GPS you have. It could be a serial-based GPS, which, by the way, most USB GPSs do use serial. You might have a serial TNC that has GPS on an auxiliary port. You could have a number of different setups. Most people are just going to have a serial GPS. Same thing if you wanted to do a weather station, you could get weather information off a serial as well. So if we add a serial GPS, you'll see it just asks for your GPS port. On Linux, it'll probably be TTY USB 0 or USB 1, depending on the number of serial devices. You would pick the clock, which in most cases GPS is 4800 bits per second. And I use a USB GPS with a serial adapter. My port style is 7E1. Yours may differ. So try a few things, see how it goes. I'm going to hit cancel since I don't have a GPS connected to the virtual machine. But I mean, that really is all there is to it. It's very simple. This is basically a working station, and if I did allow it to go online, you would see it actually take in information from the internet and import it into the system. So you can pull up your station data back from the configure station. There's also configure defaults. So you can specify, is it a fixed station? Is it a mobile? Is it a station that has position and weather? Um, is it a station in local time? That sort of thing can be set up from there. Um, on the same screen, there is timing we can set. How long in minutes do you want to transmit your position? Point 0.5 would be 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds, send out your transmission with your beacon. Every 1.3 minutes, yada yada, up to once every hour. I like every 30 seconds, but there's very little APRS traffic in my area, so I can get away with that sort of thing. Plus, my radio is also set up on the mobile, so that it will not transmit if there is something else being heard through the radio. So I don't have to worry about accidentally transmitting over somebody. My radio simply won't do it. You can do the same thing for how often do you want to check your GPS in seconds. I did 10 seconds, but you really don't need to be that hard on it. I mean, just play around with it. That is the basics. This is an iGate up and running, minus the fact that I did not connect mine to the internet just because my main call sign is used for APRS tracking, and I don't want that to get mixed up on the databases with an iGate. But yeah, so that's basically it. This will communicate with the outside world, take RF, put it online, and vice versa. That is an iGate. It's actually a lot easier than it seems, and you didn't even need to use a TNC because we're using Soundmodem to do that for us. Um, so that's about it. If you have any questions, comments, if you have any more interest in APRS, let me know, and I'll post some more videos on that. We also do have coming up in the relatively soon future, I will be showing you the mobile side of this where we run APRS in the car, as well as what it looks like on the map when you go to look up your APRS station in the future. So that's all for this one. I want to thank you guys for watching, and have a great afternoon.